Hey, welcome back to Score on Business. Our next guest is a regular because he always has some great things to share. John Maddox is with us, and John Maddox is the founder and host of the Crowdfunding Pitch Show. In addition to that, John has started a lot of different companies. One of his current ventures, as I just mentioned, is the Crowdfunding Pitch Show. This show allows entrepreneurs seeking crowdfunding to gain exposure as well as investments. And so not too long ago, you all had a day-long seminar to help entrepreneurs get started. There were lots and lots of people there. It went real well. You've got something coming up again. And so tell us about it.
Yeah, so thanks for having me again, Pete. Really appreciate it. IdeaCon 2016 was the last conference we had. It went fantastic. We had over almost 400 people came. And gained a lot of insight and knowledge from some really high-level speakers. And what I'm doing now, coming up on June 22nd, is the Crowdfunding Pitch Show Live. So it's kind of a new spin on the pitch contest concept, right? So there's a lot of contests all over the place, but the opportunity for real capital raise to happen and really engagement of an audience doesn't really exist yet. So came up with this idea of, hey, let's hold an event here in Nashville, have 10 startups from all over the state of Tennessee come here, we're going to pitch a live audience, and let's really engage. So the audience, the winner is picked by the audience. So in real time, after all the pitches, you'll have the opportunity to vote. And then the piece that I really like about this is whoever gets the most votes from the crowd will win all the money from the ticket sales. So as a potential attendee, you have the opportunity to not only help pick who wins, but the money you spent to come also goes to whoever gets the most votes.
Right. So I like the idea of the crowd, of the people who attend being able to pick it. And this is not going to be just like a dry, boring event.
No, we've got two bands called one's called Medic, one they're called Paper Lights. They're actually on tour nationally. They have to be in Nashville that week. They're going to come perform for us. So this is much more of a not just hey, come and listen to some pitches and go home. It's hey, come that and let's have a great time. Let's have a party and really engage and provide entertainment value as well as a great networking opportunity for entrepreneurs, investors, professionals who are really looking for a way to engage in a community of people who are. Let's get real. We're in Nashville. We're one of the hot spots of entrepreneurship around the country. Let's really put ourselves on the map and provide a way to really engage people on a different level.
Yeah. When is this?
June 22nd. If you want to learn more, go to crowdfundingpitchshow.com. And you learn all about it and get your tickets there.
Well, I'll tell you, after speaking with people who went to the IdeaCon, all the feedback was really good that I got, and this will be really good too.
I sure hope so. We're holding it at Skyway Studios, the same place that held IdeaCon, and went fantastic. Great group of guys out there.
Awesome.
And they can do some fantastic entertainment.
Awesome. Okay, so equity crowdfunding has just been approved, and what is that? Tell us about it.
Well, it's part of the reason, equity crowdfunding is part of the reason I started the radio show. So I've got the Crowdfunding Pitch Show that airs every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Super Talk 997 here in Nashville. The reason I started that show was an over 80-year law law that's been in effect for over 80 years, which has not allowed the non-accredited investor, I joke about this and I say all of us normal humans don't have the opportunity to make equity investments in new companies. Well, the Jobs Act that was passed in 2012 allowed for that to happen, but we've been waiting for the last 3 years, 7 months for the SEC to come up with the rules which actually allow, hey, here's what's allowed under the Jobs Act. Those are going into effect May 16th, which will allow all of us to be equity investors. So it's a fantastic opportunity. Now there's some requirements you definitely need to go and research that allow you to fall under this new provision. But it's a monstrous opportunity. Other countries around the world that have allowed the same type of equity investment, more capital was raised in the first year of it being legal than all the venture capital is put together in that country. So part of the reason I started the radio show, I'm doing these events, is that this is the United States. We're the greatest economy on the planet. There's more disposable income here than anywhere else in the world. And we also already support rewards-based crowdfunding, so pre-buying products or services on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. We already do that more than anybody else in the world. So I think there's some monstrous opportunities available to us here in the United States.
And so the impact, you just alluded to it, but up to this point, people who are doing crowdfunding, they need to have a product or service or something to offer, and people have bought it early.
That's right.
This is going to be where individuals can actually invest.
Right. So on the federal level, if you make under $100,000, you can invest 2% or up to $5,000. If you make over $100,000, between that and $200,000, which where you become an accredited investor and you can invest whatever you want, you can invest up to $100,000 a year.
And I guess in the beginning, as it gets worked out, it may be a little Wild West, so folks will want to make sure to...
Well, it's definitely Wild West, and that's part of the reason for the radio show and for the events. We're not doing equity pitches just yet, because there is some definite... You're right, it's definitely the Wild West, and we're yet to see how everything is fully delineated, and are there any general solicitation rules that might be violated, different things like that. But there's something else that people need to be aware of here in Tennessee, which is the Invest Tennessee exemption. Was passed back in December 2015, which if you're a Tennessee-based entity, so a Tennessee LLC, C Corp, people who are residents of Tennessee are allowed to invest up to $10,000 for an equity investment without a lot of these additional provisions that are required under the Jobs Act. So there's a whole nother arena that's it's actually already available to us, but it's really starting to gain traction and exposure here in Tennessee.
Yeah, awesome. So, John, this is something you've done. You also have been very involved in marketing and websites. You had a business that did very well there. So, talk to us about ways that startups can get a nice website without breaking the bank.
Well, it's amazing. There's actually a heck of a lot of ways to do that now. You've got Squarespace and Weebly, and there's tons of different platforms you can go and do drag and drop building websites. There's some limitations, and ultimately you don't own the source code. So if things need to pivot or change, or there's something you need but you're not allowed to do through their platform, it might not be the right move, or it could be. It's worthwhile to check out.
It's inexpensive and a way to get started.
It's very inexpensive, and then there's other options like
list 4 or 5 providers in that area.
Okay, so you get Squarespace, Weebly, Webs.com, and then if you want to go into the kind of build a much more comprehensive, more flexible site that you own, you can always go to, it's a very, very cost-effective mechanism, go to sites like ThemeForest, which have very, very high quality lots of different content management systems. Let's use WordPress as an example. It's one of the most popular. You can go and get a theme there for maybe $60. And it looks like you spent $10,000. And if you have somebody and build that relationship with somebody who has expertise in the modification and customization of some of these WordPress themes and functions, you can build something that looks like you spent $20,000, $30,000, and it might cost you 3, 4, 5, depending on what you need. And then when you expand from there, let's say your company starts to grow and there's much more comprehensive and complex functionality you need. WordPress is so popular. Literally right now, over 20% of all the websites on the planet are built on WordPress. So there's been a plethora, a never-ending supply of different types of common functions that have been pre-built to work specifically with WordPress. So now instead of going and spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for this additional custom functionality, the probability of it already existing is pretty decent. It's worthwhile to go down that road and look.
Okay. And so people, if they go to ThemeForest or somewhere like that and find, they're still going to need somebody to actually do it. So you buy the theme, but for somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000, you can get somebody to do a pretty decent one.
Absolutely. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now tell us about inexpensive ways that companies can market themselves.
Yeah, this one has me pretty passionate. There's some pretty interesting things that are come to fruition. Technology is expanding dramatically, and one of the arenas that I talk about all the time that's kind of ignored by small business is the world of podcasting. So podcasting had a big boost 4 or 5 years ago, kind of went on decline, and now it's on a massive rise. And the hard cost, let's say you're a small business owner, you want to become a thought leader in that industry, you want to provide knowledge and information to your particular customer demographic. Well, you can go and start a podcast for less than $100. You go buy a microphone, create a podcast hosting account with some company like Libsyn.com, which is that's what they do, and have a cover graphic designed, and presto, you now have a podcast, and you can really use that to open doors to potential business relationships, and it also provide a resource for people that are looking for answers. Now, in line with the podcasting, hey, I'm going to start one, or hey, I don't have time to do one. You've also got the opportunity to look at sponsoring and basically advertising on podcasts in a specific niche. And there's some pretty interesting ways you can leverage that from a hyper-targeting standpoint.
And hey, John, we'll be out of time in a moment. If people would like to do the podcasting, where would they go? How can they do that?
Well, first thing would be set up a hosting account. So go to Libsyn.com. You start with about $20.
Okay, Libsyn.com.
Yep, Libsyn.
Okay.
Go and get a microphone. You can get really nice ones on Amazon for less than $100.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to get a graphic designed, and then decide exactly what you want to call it and who your target market is.
Okay, awesome. John, thank you so much for being with us today.
Appreciate it.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. Bye now.